I think that this crisis of democracy need to be solved by making democracy more representative, and that means giving the possibility to the citizen to really have a choice. So I think what today is needed is to establish a really agonistic democracy, and this agonistic democracy need to be representative, because precisely the parties, for instance, they have the possibility to establish different views of what can be possible. And there it is where I think the question of design or artistic practices can play an important role. But what I really advocate is what I call a left patriotism. Because left patriotism being an identification with your national tradition, but with the best, the most progressive aspect of this tradition. I know the possibility of that is different according to different countries. It's much more difficult in Germany. In Austria too, even if I've been arguing, for instance, with my friends in Vienna, that they should not reduce the history of Austria to the Nazi period, that there are many things they can be very proud of. Red Vienna, for instance, I think the architecture of Red Vienna for me is definitively an example of agonistic architecture. The Austro-Marxists, and in France, of course, is much easier because of the French Revolution, so you can create a French identity on the basis of precisely the universalism. The French Revolution was the first one that to give right to vote to the Jews, for instance, So you see, there is form of identification with the national tradition, which is progressive. I think that design is very important in an agonistic conception, because precisely by offering different view of society, different different way in which social relation can be established. So I think this for me, everything which has got to do with that field is very important in order to construct a different common sense, and in order to do what I call in my work counter-hegemonic practices. Practices which are going to try to undermine and reconstruct the existing common sense and to propose different forms. What's important to recognize here is that at the moment we are in a situation in which changes are going to happen in our societies. And that's what I understand by crisis of hegemony. These neoliberal things, this is not going to last. Of course, I'm not saying it's going, but we are seeing the end of that. And of course, the question, as Gramsci was saying, it's a moment when the old is dying and the new is not yet completely developed. We are in a moment in which really we need to define in which way our societies are going to go. And they can go, and in fact the danger is that right-wing populism have been much more effective and they began earlier, to try to propose another form of order that is going to be, as I say, in the name of reclaiming democracy. In fact, what they propose is to restrict democracy. And I think that this is why it's important, and my defense of a left populism is to say, let's take the critique seriously, the possibility of change, but orient it into another direction. So yeah, I don't think that one should identify critical with necessarily progressive. You can be critical in many different ways. Some which are, going to restrict democracy, as I was saying, or extend democracy. What is important today is to realize that well, let's say something else. I think that what I will call the consensus at the center, the forces of neoliberalism, understand that very well, and this is why they are trying to stigmatize every form of critique, coming from the left or from the right. They are going to try to delegitimize them. They are populist. That's populism. So it's a way to impede to the real distinction between the kind of critique which is going to lead to restriction of democracy and the one which is going to lead to a development of democracy. So they realize that, you know, the danger. In fact, I think that what I will call today the kind of anti-populist hysteria is, in a sense, an indication that the forces of neoliberal globalization feel threatened.